Welcome to Literature Hub 247. If you love stories, poetry, and love things literary, you are in the right place. We dive deep into the world of words, from timeless classics to hidden gems. Subscribe and let's explore together. In this video, we are going to discuss two important elements of drama. The elements of drama are protagonist and antagonist. Who are protagonists? Who are antagonists in literature? Let's go into the classroom. The protagonist and antagonist in literature. In literature, a protagonist is the main character, often the hero or central figure, around whom the story revolves. The protagonist is typically the character with whom the reader identifies and empathizes, and whose journey and experiences drive the plot. So this tells us the importance of protagonist in literature or in any narrative. Let's look at the characteristics of a protagonist. That is, how can we identify that this character is the protagonist in a narrative? 1. Central to the story. The protagonist is the main character and the story revolves around their experiences and actions. That is, everything that happens in the narrative, they are always in the midst of every circumstances in the narrative. 2. Relatable. The protagonist is often relatable, allowing readers to identify with their struggles, emotions, and motivations. 3. Dynamic. The protagonist may undergo significant changes, growth, or development throughout the story. 4. Goals and motivations. The protagonist has clear goals, motivations, and desires that drive their actions and decisions. 5. Conflict. The protagonist often faces internal or external conflicts, challenges, and obstacles that test their abilities and resolve. That is, the conflict might be internal, as we have in Once Upon an Elephant, or external conflicts, challenges, and obstacles that test their abilities and resolve. In Once Upon an Elephant, the protagonist there experiences internal conflict. That is Olaniyonu Ajanaku. I've explained this in one of my videos. You can request for the video and I will send the link to you. Types of protagonist. 1. Hero. A traditional hero, often with admirable qualities and characteristics. 2. Anti-hero. A protagonist who lacks traditional heroic qualities, often with flaws and imperfection. Ajanaku is also a good example here. That is making reference to Once Upon an Elephant. It lacks traditional heroic qualities, often with flaws and imperfection because of his character, because of his behaviors in the narrative. 3. Unlikely hero. This is a protagonist who is not typically heroic, but finds themselves in a heroic role. 4. Multiple protagonists. Some stories may have multiple protagonists, each with their own storylines and arcs. So, in this case, there will be different storylines. So, and each will have their protagonist. Functions of a protagonist. 1. Drives the plot. Drives the plot. The protagonist's actions and decisions drive the plot forward. That is why if the protagonist died, that could bring the end to that narrative. That is, the play might end there. with the death of the protagonist because they drive the action and decisions of the plot forward. 2. Create emotional connection. The protagonist creates an emotional connection with the reader, allowing them to invest in the story. 3. Explore themes. The protagonist's experiences and struggles often explore the story's themes and ideas. They explore the theme, that is, they identify with the themes of the narrative. 4. Undergoes growth. The protagonist may undergo significant growth, change, or development throughout the story. That is, they are always round characters. They are not normally flat characters. That is, the changes. They change from the beginning of the narrative to the end. They undergo significant growth or change. Now, the antagonist. In literature, an antagonist is a character, group, or force that opposes the main character and creates conflict, tension, or obstacles in the story. The antagonist can be a person, an idea, a situation, or even the protagonist's own flaws or fear. This means that the antagonist is not necessarily a human character. It's not compulsory that it should be a human character. Types of antagonists. 1. Human antagonist. Human antagonist. A character who opposes the protagonist, often with their own motivations and goals. A good example is A Man for All Seasons. We have the king antagonizing Mob there. That's all. In that text, we have a human antagonist. 2. Non-human antagonist. This is a force, idea, or situation that opposes the protagonist, such as nature, society, or an abstract concept. In this case, there is no human antagonist. A good example is So the Path Does Not Die. The first antagonist there is a non-human antagonist, and it sets the ground. It serves as this foundation for all other antagonists, and that antagonist is circumcision. That is the first antagonism that is experienced by the protagonist, that is Finaba, and it set the pace for the other opposition. From there, since the time she's confronted with the issue of circumcision, she runs from one problem to another until she traces back a step to the village. 3. Internal antagonist. The protagonist's own flaws, fears, or doubts that create conflict and tension. That is, the antagonist there faces his internal problem, is confronted with his own problem, with his own flaws. Now, functions of an antagonist. 1. Create conflict. The antagonist creates obstacles and challenges for the protagonist to overcome. 2. Develops character. The antagonist helps to reveal the protagonist's character, values, and motivations. 3. Drives plot. That is, like the protagonist also, the antagonist also drives plot. The antagonist's actions and decisions drive the plot forward and create tension. So the death of any of them, that is either the protagonist or antagonist, is bringing the narrative to the end. 4. Provides contrast. The antagonist provides a contrast to the protagonist, highlighting their strengths and weaknesses. Key characteristics, that is, how can we identify that this character is an antagonist? 1. Opposition. The antagonist opposes the protagonist's goals, values, or motivations. 2. Conflict. The antagonist creates conflict, tension, or obstacle for the protagonist. 3. Motivation. The antagonist has their own motivations, goals, or desires that drive their actions. In summary, the antagonist is a crucial element in literature, creating conflict, tension, and character development, while driving the plot forward and providing contrast to the protagonist. So, we have done justice to this important topic in literature, the protagonist and the antagonist in literature. Please, if you are new on this platform, try and click on the subscribe button and the bell icon so that whenever any video is produced, you are going to be notified. Like this video, just to encourage me, just click on the like button. You are free to share it on any social media platform. Invite your friends and colleagues to join us. If you have any question or comment, send it to the comment section to be attended to. Thank you and God bless. Let's meet in the next class.